Hey folks, welcome back to the DroneOn Show. It's Mike. Today we have another episode where I was on the road at the drone convention and I sat down with lots of different applicators at that show, just having casual conversations with them on how they got started and where they're at now. And so today is another one of those episodes where I'm on the road and having a conversation with another spray drone business. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the DroneOn podcast. We are in Alabama at the Drone Spray End User Conference is what it's called. And we're just going around and talking to custom applicators. And here to my left, I have
Yanni Matson, Vortex Advantage Ag.
Sweet. And you're from where?
We're south of Fort Worth, Texas.
Texas. All right. And how long have you been doing drones?
So this will be my second spray season, 2025. So I started 2023 is when we formed the LLC and kind of started down the rabbit hole of doing the aerial drone application thing.
Okay.
But,
and I first seen you on a YouTube video that went semi-viral because you had this just sick trailer layout. And you're doing pasture ground. Most of it is pasture ground, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you walk me through, so you got into this drone spray business. What type of experience did you have?
Zero. So zero. The ag experience I had was coming from a winery background. So I was co-founder of a winery out in Napa Valley and had the fortune of working with a lot of viticulturalists in vineyard space. So I did have very little agricultural experience, but primarily around the vineyard space.
Okay.
When I moved to Texas, I really wanted to transition out of the wine business. I'd had my run with it a good close to 13 years, and being a aviation enthusiast and a pilot, I started looking at different things that might be associated with aviation and follow a guy named Trenton Palmer on YouTube. Yeah. And he's a drone pilot as well. That's where he made his money, I understand, in the movie industry. And so I didn't want to do that, and actually stumbled across one of Taylor Moreland's videos on AgriSpray, and that kind of sucked me down the hole.
So you were kind of searching for something. You were watching aviation content, and then YouTube probably just recommended some drone content to you.
I think that's what happened.
Okay.
And drones in general, I thought about maybe LiDAR or, critical infrastructure inspections or something cool like that. But the ag side of it came up, and it was like instantaneous for me. I said, this is going to be something for sure.
So did you have any other drone experience prior to getting agricultural drone?
Never flown a drone in my life.
No way.
Nope. But I was a private instrument-rated private pilot, but no drones whatsoever.
That's cool. Because a lot of times when I talk to people, it's like they're scared of the drones, but they don't realize how easy they actually are to fly.
They're incredibly easy.
Yeah. And so to hear, like for yourself, you're like, you didn't have any drone experience, but still.
And you're in your 50s.
Yeah, I'm 54.
Yeah.
I mean, I started a couple years back, but for me, the tech side of it, whether being at a pretty high level in business before this industry, I feel like I had the technical knowledge to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And, originally the DJI platform is what I went with. I've since gone to XAG, but, the DJI platform is pretty user-friendly. I think that's what's made it so popular. You tout about it all the time, right, on your channel. So to your trailer build question, yes, that thing, that kind of put Vortex on the map. I said, you know what? I got $60,000 into this badass enclosed Alcom Stealth 24-foot trailer, and I want to do this. So one day, I'm like, I don't care. I think I was wearing flip-flops, and my brand manager guy, the guy who created the Vortex look, feel, and brand logo, everything, he kind of gave me crap about it. He's like, dude, you can't wear flip-flops. And I said, no, that's why I'm wearing flip-flops, because I can, and I want to. This is my Sunday morning. I'm filming a video.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you built that trailer off of just what you thought you might need without much experience in the field up to that point?
Yeah, just based off watching some of the videos that were out there. Being presented. It was early, and I made some big mistakes in the efficiency space as well as ground clearance. I mean, that's why I'm not using that trailer today.
Yeah, dude, that's like our first trailer. That didn't think about how important ground clearance is. And then for your application, you're focusing a lot on pasture ground. I can't imagine some of the rugged terrain or access roads that you're trying to get in.
I had that mainly due to the wet spring of 2024. I had that trailer stuck 3 times in the first month in pastures. I had to disconnect and leave it there overnight twice. I'm like, Mr. Johnson, I'll be back tomorrow to get my trailer. How embarrassing is that? You mind if I borrow your tractor? But yeah, I quickly realized actually that's what's pivoted me to your guys, the NuWay Ag trailer. I've sold a couple of them. They're great trailers. They're very high ground clearance. That's a good thing about them. I've since really realized that a truck mounted system, not a pickup truck, but a flatbed dually, 1 ton plus, maybe a 1 1/4 ton is my thing.
Because of your access to like getting into the fields. And it's just gnarly stuff. Sometimes you got to go back in a long way, right?
My whole motto is, I'm going to bring a water trailer with whatever else I need, leave that sucker at the front gate, lock the hubs, and disappear in 4-wheel drive out into the pasture. My rig will cover up to about 200 acres with the water just on the flatbed.
Okay.
And I can come back in 5 minutes, fill that 400 gallons back up and be out and hit another 200 acres. So a 1,000-acre job in my particular situation might be 30 different fields ranging from 20 acres all the way up to 150 acres. So that's kind of
So we do a little bit of pasture ground, not a lot of pasture ground where we're at. Small pasture ground.
Yep.
What's the biggest challenge trying to do pasture acres?
I would say in Texas, the trees.
So you go around every tree?
Well, it depends. So if the customer, for example, I've got a customer right now that's got 20,000 acres, 10,000-acre ranches. They want to spray for prickly pear, which is cactus that's low-lying and is on the ground no more than a couple feet off the ground. Well, they want to protect their oaks.
Yep.
So we're going to go around the 30, 40-foot tall oaks. That's kind of a given. But what about all the little smaller trees, the intermittent mesquites and stuff that are poking up anywhere from 10 to 15 feet? And they're difficult to map because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I showed you that map earlier that we're talking about. So either you have to fly at a height that's going to for sure clear all the small scrub trees, but go around the big trees, or you got to plant every single tree and the thing looks like a freaking pinball machine going through.
It sounds like just to set your drone boundaries could take a while. Is that right?
Yeah.
Because you're not only just creating the boundary, but the obstacles for those trees that the landowner wants to save.
That's right. There's different ways you can do this. You can pre-map it if you have the luxury of doing so.
Yep.
In my case, a lot of times the jobs are farther away from me, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours away. And that's a long drive to go scout a field in advance. So for me, I usually will show up. I'll use the app and use satellite data to map these in a lot of instances, and I'll just make the boundaries around the obstacles a little safer and larger than I would in normal instances.
Yeah.
If I can, I did use Pix4D fields for the better part of a year, and with a multispectral to go get the orthomosaic imagery and get really clear current data on the fields so I can define the obstacles. But I found that extra step on large field projects just took more time.
It takes a long time. That's exactly why we don't do it.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
I see you guys also fly around the fields and do your boundaries. I love that. I've tried it. For me, it works in some instances, and in most it doesn't. Because it, again, will take way too long.
Yep.
I'll have to,
Yeah, it is surprising how close to accurate that the DJI Google Map image is, because I've built up lots of boundaries on my phone. And it was surprising how accurate they are. Now, it's not going to catch a tree that has just fallen in the last 4 months or something like that. That is why when we're doing row crop on cord, we do prefer to fly the boundary to check for power lines and trees that may have fallen in. But with the map that DJI provides is a Google Maps. That's all it is, really.
Right.
For the most part, it's up to date.
And I think the XAG1 is as well. It's pretty up to date. I use it.
Yeah.
The biggest issue is obviously power lines. You can't see those on the Google Map.
Do you have power lines
trees
out in the pasture land?
We do. They cut across quite a bit. Power lines are an issue. What I've really come to the conclusion, I've had a couple run-ins with them. What I've decided is from this point forward, if I don't have at least 15 feet of vertical clearance above the drone at its flight height when it's transitioning under lines, then I'm just going to I'm going to split the field down the power line and give myself a 15, 20-foot buffer on either side and work it safe, because it's just not worth it.
Yep.
That's words of wisdom right there.
It really is.
If you guys are listening, that is very important. It's like we tried cutting underneath them before.
Yep.
Sometimes they work. Next time they break, or you might get hung up in one.
Yep.
It's much better just to split it.
Yep.
The other big difference in pasture work, Mike, over the typical row crop Midwesterner is battery management. So you hear people look at me like I'm crazy when I tell them I need a minimum of 4 DB1560s for the T50.
Yeah.
And they're like, sometimes I wish I had 5 or 6 batteries. And it's because of the types of fields that we're working and the amount of maneuvering the drone's having to do around obstacles.
Yeah. It's consuming a lot of energy and not spraying the load off.
Correct. And it's getting the battery life down to a much lower point when it comes back. So I'm coming back at 20%, which takes longer to get back up to 100. So you need that extra battery or 2 in the rotation or an additional charger if you have the generator for it.
What type of generator system are you running?
We've been running the whole first year we ran gas, just your Westinghouse 28,000 watt for a 2 drone setup.
Did you run one 28,000 for 2 drones?
For 2 drones,
yes. And was that a C8000 charger?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the 10s we don't do. Yeah.
That 8,000 watt charger doesn't make sense with 30,000 milliamps.
No.
But that's interesting.
No, we moving forward, all of the stuff we're doing are going to be. I became a Kubota dealer because I realized on our Vortex Rover skid we're getting ready to launch. It's a flatbed skid system that, we're going to do 1 drone operation, and it's going to be ground-based ops. And the 14 kW lowboy Kubota diesels, the generator we're going to run. It's 12K prime, which will be plenty for any large
12K
drone.
12K prime meaning running watts?
Running, yeah. In the diesel world, I guess they refer to it as prime.
Okay.
So it's 14 kW, 12K prime.
Okay.
I'm learning this too.
I've seen that generator, and I was really interested in that generator. Now that you say that, I might have to check it out a little bit more. What's it weigh? Do you know?
It's about 1,000 pounds all in, 900 and something.
Okay.
It's 53 inches.
Pretty heavy unit.
It is.
Because a unit that we can get right now that's a 14,000, you'll be able to pick it up with 2 guys pretty easily.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But it's gasoline, right?
Okay.
So your system's going to be a lot quieter.
Oh, my God. You can stand right next to this thing and have a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, the mental, being an old dirt bike rider, but when I transitioned to street, I asked my good friend, hey, what's a good book to read about, what to do in the street? And they talk about how the sound, how wearing earplugs when you're riding a motorcycle is so important, because if you have $10 bills in mental capacity at the beginning of a ride, the sound itself will degrade your mental capacity down to 7 or something, whatever. It's kind of, we're getting off topic, but it's the same with drones.
Yeah.
Listening to that generator all day long in the background, even with my $200 active noise canceling headphones that Bluetooth to my remote, it still just wears you down. And at the end of the day, you're just so much more tired.
Yeah, there's definitely times when you're spraying, when it's a long day, 16-hour day, and all you want to do is shut them off and then stand there for just 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And just not hear nothing.
Yeah, birds chirping.
So are you using 2 drones to do your pasture stuff, or just mostly 1?
It depends. I'll be honest, one of the guys today at the conference said something about that, about the 1 or 2, the swarming and stuff. Casey, my wife, she's a drone operator as well. She's got her 107. I'll typically plan the fields. We'll be out there together.
Nice.
And I'll set it up, and I'll get, fire one off. She'll fire one off, and then I'll wait 3 or 4 minutes, fire mine off. And I try to plan the field so that, they're never crossing paths. They're just kind of working together in harmony. But, I would say the lion's share of the time we're flying 1 at a time. There could be 1 going at a different field, but when we can, flying 2 drones makes sense. But I do believe that efficiency thing, that you're not going to double the efficiency with 2 drones in most instances.
In your pasture.
In our pasture application.
Yep.
Different on row crops and stuff
definitely
like that.
Different scenarios.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up. Would you say that this is like a semi-retirement plan that you did with, because you had a successful business? It really didn't need to get into drones, or did you?
People think I'm nuts, dude.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out.
People think I'm nuts. I was partners in, I co-founded a brand in Napa. It's a luxury winery brand. We're talking $300 bottles of Cabernet. I've done 2 wine dinners at Mar-a-Lago, as the guest, of honor, where I fly in.
When you told me that first time, I'm like, why is this guy
What's this guy doing?
Drones?
I traded all that in to slang hot loads out in the state of Texas, sweat my ass off out there. And that's, but I kind of was over the drinking aspect of the job, for one.
Yeah.
I told you earlier I had a heart attack in November, which is crazy for my young age. Hereditary thing, but whatever. I'm an athlete. I'm over that. I feel really good, but I am at the stage where I need to make the change in my life. Like your first question you asked me today, or when I first saw you, you're like, are you still spraying? Are you still out in the field or whatever? And it's like, because I know that I am more valuable to our company, Vortex, working on my business rather than in my business.
Yep.
And when I'm not answering the phone, answering questions for guys I've sold equipment to, selling new equipment, procuring more acres to spray,
Yep.
I'm not getting back to those people and they're going on to somebody else, right?
Yep.
So it's all about being available. I'm doing a marketing presentation on the 26th on Wednesday, how to market your drone business. You should be doing that presentation because you do
Kevin
a great
should
job.
be here.
But basically it all falls back to branding, and it all falls back to, be available, pick up your phone, and that's been the key to my success.
So what's long term for your company? Like, is it? Do you want to be like the largest pasture drone sprayer in Texas, or?
Man, you hit the nail on the head. I kind of want to be the one-stop shop that does not exist right now in the state of Texas. And, I'm a big thinker, so, it would be nice if it was multi-state, but let's walk before we run.
Yeah.
I would love to be the largest and only one-stop shop for drones. And I mean sales, training, parts, service, custom application, everything. And it's wide open for the taking. I just got to nut up and do it, And if I can't nut up and do it, somebody else is gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the market is growing so rapidly right now. Would you say, I get the question all the time, is the market flooded? Would you say the market is flooded right now?
I get that question almost from everyone I sell a drone to. Am I too late?
Yeah.
And 2.5 years ago, I wished I would have got in it 2 or 3 years earlier.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad I didn't, because then I deal with it like the T10s and the T20s. And the
real headaches.
The T30s. But here's what I tell people in Texas, and I believe this to be true, genuinely believe it, that we are at least 5 years away from being saturated with applicators in the state of Texas, if not more. It's like 120 million acres in Texas.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, think about just how many drones that would take. It's unbelievable amount.
Well, Mike, I get calls right now. One thing I do a good job of is, search engine optimization and awareness online. Even though I have a very simple website, there's no store. It's just a scrolling website. I think it's visually fairly appealing. But I shot the video on the homepage myself with a Mavic 3, flying away while I'm flying a T50. I did all that, So I'm due for a pretty big upgrade to add a store and capture that. But I get calls from 5 hours away in Southwest Texas, and I always ask customers that call me. My cell phone is on my website. Customers that call, how'd you hear about me? I just Googled you. And people 5 hours away from me are Googling, and I'm still one of the top, if not the top, aerial applicators that show up. That tells me two things. Either the rest of the field isn't doing their job online, which is probably the case in my
partially, but there's just not that many people yet.
That's true.
Yeah. There's just not that many people. It would take so many people to cover the acres that need to be covered.
Yeah.
We're a long way from being saturated, I think.
I mean, 100%. Yeah, there's just Texas is huge.
Right.
And it's not even started yet.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think.
It's been, I think I told you earlier I sold close to 50 drones in 10 months. And for me, for a channel of business that I didn't even expect to be involved in.
I did tell you that last year.
Yeah. So my full disclosure, this guy called it a year ago at end user conference. He's like, you were there.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, I got to predict. And this is probably after you assessed me after talking to him for about 30 minutes. You're like, this joker's going to sell some drones.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're going to sell more drones than you are going to spray acres. You're not going to be spraying acres. Yeah.
Yep.
No sweating for you, son. Air conditioned offices, But you nailed it. I mean, it's for me, that's the easy part of this job. I feel like I have integrity. I'm honest. I'm not trying to steer somebody into something.
Yep. But you know what helps you is you've done it. You have the experience. These tractor dealerships that are wanting to sell drones because it's easy to sell a drone.
Yeah.
That's not good for the industry because there's a lot to learn.
Yes.
And if a guy like yourself has run before, dude, coaching a guy up, he's going to get a lot more coming from somebody that's actually done it.
Yeah.
Not just little test fields.
Right.
Actually done it. There's nothing that can replace real world experience.
That's very valuable, and that's a great point. You have, the guys calling you at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm at the point you're probably past this point because you got a lot more business than I
had to. I mean, right now my phone's ringing.
Oh, I'm sure it is. That's what I'm saying. At what point do you stop taking calls at 10 a.m.?
Probably
10
Iowa. Should we pick up right now?
Let's do it.
Be like, What's up?
Yeah. All right. So see the gear icon in the upper right?
Yep,
Click
yep.
on that. Then go second down is sprayer, you know, and then click on that or whatever.
But yeah.
So there's that, and yeah. So long-term plan. You asked me, and I never answered that question. Yeah, I'd like to, man. In a perfect world, you know, I build this brand up to where it's something super special, and 5 to 8 years plan for me was box that bitch up and sell it, to a John Deere or to a Wilbur Ellis or whoever else is buying, because if you make the brand sexy enough and valuable enough, both from the acres, if I can generate. I mean, my first year in this business, I did over 300,000, and I think that's pretty damn good for first year in.
Oh, yeah.
And now my plan is to try to do double that.
If that number alone wouldn't encourage somebody to invest, you're looking at about 130,000 for 2 drones and a NuWay trailer. Get yourself a truck.
Yeah.
Dude, that's insane. Good for you.
It is.
But it's work, too.
Oh.
Like, I do not want people to think that this is easy money, get rich quick.
No.
Because when I heard that you're still spraying, I'm like, dude, it's hard work.
It is.
Like when I was out there and I was grinding hard for 30 to 45 days straight, doing 16-hour days, you can't do that for that long.
Yeah.
But there is money to be made.
Look, I'm old enough to tell the old timers like myself that I'm young at heart. I employ young guys, and I'm running circles around these guys.
Nice.
Like seriously, in the field. Like it's just a different. I don't know if it's like we always say the World War II era guys were hard as nails. They were. It was like that generation, right? But I feel like there's that same kind of difference between my generation and the upcoming, I don't want to say everyone's lazy, but it's hard to get the guy that's really working.
A lot of people just aren't motivated.
Right.
Like they just aren't motivated.
Like it just takes work.
Yep.
Like
think about what needs to be done next. Don't wait for me to tell you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like just
that is
like
one of my biggest gripes about people.
Right.
Think ahead a little bit.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's I definitely am to a point where I need to step back and just hire guys and delegate more. I think I'd be a lot happier. It is very hard work, and I'm not scared of hard work. In Texas, when it's, creeping up on 100 degrees, there's a lot of chemicals we can't spray because they're very volatile when it gets above 95.
Yeah.
A lot of the herbicides. So like even mesquite, mesquite, it's August, September, depending on what region of Texas that you're going to apply. So that's like kind of southwest. And, when is it not 95 degrees in August in Texas? Like you have a window from like 4 a.m. till, 10 a.m. before you get any spraying.
Did you do any night spraying down there?
I haven't. No.
Okay.
I just got my night Novio and Swarm recently.
Oh, nice.
So it took me like 8 months to get that as an amendment to my original application or
that's cool.
exemption. Yeah.
Man, hey, I appreciate you sharing your journey of drones, and it's still young.
It is.
Right. We're only talking 2.5 years since you started. And first year, you did 300,000. How much did you do the next year?
Well, no, this year is the second spray season. 24 was my first full season. I started the business in 23. I ramped up. I bought my drones. I started advertising. But I really started spraying, call it January 1, 24.
Okay.
So yes, I'm very
year one.
I'm very humble. I mean, I'm confident, but I'm humble. I'm humble because there's guys that have been doing this for 5 years, 6 years, and those are the guys that when we come to conferences like this, want to try to glean as much information as I can from.
Yeah.
So.
There's a wealth of knowledge walking around here
There really
that's
is.
like, if somebody's willing to share, I'm willing to grab something from
That's
it.
right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, man.
You got anything else for him, Jay?
I did want to ask you, your first trailer that you made.
Yes.
Was there air conditioning in that thing?
There was.
Okay.
Now,
would you?
Go ahead.
If you would do it again, would you? Obviously, you wouldn't do the same system.
No.
But would you do something similar?
So I bought that trailer and it had AC in it. It was a car hauler trailer.
Okay.
So it's a really high-end kind of NASCAR-looking car hauler. And that's why it looks so good branded, the way I did it up with the Vortex.
Nice.
But, I didn't use the air conditioning once in the field. Not once.
See, yeah.
So I'm not saying – all these guys that say, I got my air conditioning area for the batteries and stuff.
Yeah.
If you have them in an air-conditioned area, it's too inefficient of an operation because that means you have to open a door to get to them.
That's so good you're bringing that up. Yeah.
I'm still perfecting my whole efficiency thing.
Yep.
Like my flatbed skid is kind of a crap show, if you will. like at the back of it, I got to make these baskets to put, whether it's a T50 cooling tower or the XAG cooling towers in, so that I'm not having to set it all on the ground. Because guess what? Everything you put on the ground has to go back in the truck before you move.
Yep.
And that's extra minutes and minutes.
Okay, so if I get you folding railings, then the NuWay trailer it won't work for you. Yeah.
What do you mean folding? No, the NuWay trailer, actually, any trailer for me is tough. So, yeah, that was one of my gripes is the folding rails. Yeah. And it looks like what you've got coming is great on that front, and I think that will make a lot of people happy.
You were talking about flying off the ground.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you make your truck version fly from the top? That way you don't have to unload and load.
So coming back to my earlier point about starting to scale my business up and hire people in lieu of me being the drone operator and Casey, I am not confident that something bad will happen in the future because it's too, in my opinion, on a truck system, a standard 1-ton dually, cabin chassis, flatbed setup, even with an extended, cantilevered deck above the cab and a safety area, I believe just for me, it's still too close proximity to be landing the drone. I can do it all day long, and I have.
Okay.
On, even on NuWay trailers, I've done it, where I'm landing a drone right up next to the railing, and it's not optimal, but I would rather have employees I'm employing out in the field landing and taking off. I'll give them a cordless weed whacker. I carry a Makita cordless weed whacker, and I just
I had one of those the first season, never used it. Threw it away.
You just use the drone. You just fired up the drone and cut it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I think mainly.
So
just
what about
safety.
what if it be an easy protective shield or something that would come in front of him? Then
you're saying it's just too small of an area.
I just think it's too small. Yeah. Yeah, and especially all of these drones, you have to disable the obstacle avoidance to get it down on that deck.
Yep.
So now you have zero obstacle avoidance, and you're trying to land this 12-foot diameter drone, flying blender. I just think that.
Flying blender, I haven't heard that yet.
Something eventually is gonna happen, and I think I don't want that liability on me.
Okay.
So I would rather. Now I am gonna put an expanded metal upper deck on mine, which is for the purposes of observation, being up high. And also, when you're getting ready to transition to your next spot, you're done with the 100 acres in front of you. You got to go 300 yards down the road. You bring on that last mission, land it on top, go up the ladder, D-ring it down like you do with the Amish straps.
I got a better one coming now.
I use Titan straps. They're really good. Yeah. But anyway, and I'm not like sponsored by them. But anyway, then you got the thing tied down. You run down the road, and then right when you get to your new spot, roll out your hose, jump up there, untie it. Fly it down, swap batteries, fill tank, boom, you're right back in business.
Is that a one-person operation or is that two?
It could be either, but yeah, one. I'm a big fan of.
So
the
problem with one person, you're going up and down all the time. Then,
well, just flying from the ground, I'm thinking of the debris and the dust and stuff. It's got to get dusty in Texas.
Well, yes, it does. If in certain areas, especially Southwest Texas,
I got to come up with a good system for you that you'll be comfortable landing on your truck. I just feel like that's the most efficient that a guy's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I'm not going to say being up top ain't, nice. It is.
I'm just saying if we can make it safer.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like, at some point, you got to be a good enough pilot to – I get what you're saying. Like, don't – like, wanting to land that close. But if it's normally, let's say you're landing and it's 10 feet away, if you have to bring it in 5 feet, you're going to be super careful. It's like us flying an instrument approach to minimums.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to do it all the time, but you can if you need to.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, you'd rather land out there with some margins, but if you have to, you can't.
Yeah, so say the Rover I'm building it's built for an 11-foot flatbed, so it's 10 feet long. Even if you cantilever it over the cab and you got an extra 5 feet, 4 feet, maybe 4 feet, I'd say it'd be fair to get over the cab, maybe 5 feet, unless you're putting supports off the front bumpers, taking it way over the hood, which looks stupid. I'm sorry. I got to be...
Got to look good.
Looking good.
Got to look good out there.
I ain't driving down looking like some Sanford & Son looking mobile. Even if it were that big, so you're looking at, call it 15 feet.
Yep.
All right? So you need 3 feet for your pilot area. Is that fair to say?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so you got 12 feet of landing space. The blades are 12 feet, roughly 11 feet.
Yeah, that's if you go in the center.
If you go in the center, land on the outside. All right, so
have your legs about a foot off the edge.
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying it can't. Like, I would do it all day. like all day. I land that sucker all day on a dime, no problem. But I just don't trust the knucklehead that is out there doing it for me.
Okay.
That's the part.
Hey, that's fair.
Yeah.
We all have our boundaries, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man.
I wanted to talk through it because, guys might say that about my trailer, like flying 2 drones off the top, and it's like, well, you got this extra. You don't want to necessarily take off and land right by the pilot protection area. You want to do it a little further away.
No, 100. So there are 2 different things in my opinion.
Yep.
Like your trailer actually has.
I'm trying to figure out how to get you more efficient. So what about we, an extra floor slides out of the bottom. Now we've just made the sucker, 22 feet long.
Yeah.
Now are you comfortable or still not comfortable?
No, that would change that would change it.
Yeah.
So if you did have
I think that's something.
Yeah.
Some sort of
give us like
slide
6
thing.
months.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. To your point, you're right. I've worked off the top of your trailer. I did that 1,500-acre prickly pear job with these guys down in Southwest Texas, and we used my client who bought your trailer. I had a different trailer, long story, but we had some plumbing issues on it. He's like, well, why don't you just use the NuWay trailer? And I'm like, money, perfect. So we ended up using that for the whole job, and I kind of felt bad. I knocked off like $2,500 off his bill because it was a $100,000 job,
Wow.
And anyway, so it worked really well. I'm not trying to say there's loads of real estate up there to land. And yes, you only, you fly one, wait 3 minutes, 4 minutes, fly the second one, and then you're just alternating. And if you ever have 2 that have to come in at the same time, you hover one, or you land it if you have to on the ground and wait it out. But yeah, it's safe.
We'll get that truck thing figured out. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And you'll look good.
All right.
Yeah, you'll look good.
Got to look good. We got to make it motorized.
Oh, nice.
Right on, dude. Hey, this has been really cool getting to know you guys. We hit it off last year, and I'm glad we were able to sit down.
I'm glad you're here.
Chop it up.
Had that heart attack. I'm like freaking out.
It was nuts, man. That was a game changer. I'm down 30 pounds, quit drinking. Not that was the cause. I'm just saying it was low-hanging, easy fruit to get rid of.
Yep.
It's a much healthier lifestyle. I feel great. I don't wake up with hangovers.
Dude, I remember that. Like, when I stopped drinking, I was just like, man, I'm so clear.
Yeah.
Like, I could just think.
Yeah. You're way more productive. I mean, let's face it.
Totally agree. Yeah. That's good.
We're enjoying life.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing.
No,
again.
my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me
Really
on.
appreciate it.
Good to see you guys. Jason, thank you.
Good seeing you again.